Well, that's 3 straight losses to the Dodgers going back to last year. Now, you could argue this wasn't as important as Game 5 of the NLDS, but some would say it is the Cactus League. Padres lose their first Cactus League game. We're kidding. They're 2-1, and we'll break down some of the news and notes from the first few days of spring training. John and Jim with you here on the wrap-up show. If you're new to the channel, if you're here live on replay, please subscribe. With your help, we've gotten past 8,000 subscribers. We don't want to get to 10,000 at some point here in 2025. So please subscribe here on Content for Baseball and Padres fans. Smash the like button for us. Follow us on X at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. Appreciate the super chats. We'll get to all of your super chats here tonight. Click the $ below the chat box. And if you want to become a member, you can click the join button down below. And shout out to a team from San Diego that did beat LA tonight, SDFC. Jim's jersey, a big reason why. San Diego FC wins against the Galaxy, MLS Cup champs. So that is some good news. Padres, I think there's some good news here too. I'm not overly concerned about them losing in the Cactus League today to the Dodgers.
You're not?
But, no, not really. I was more concerned about Ethan Salas roping that double off the center field wall.
113 miles off the bat.
And Leo DeVries making that great throw from the left side of the infield. I saw you tweeting that out, talking Friars. I wouldn't have known about it if you didn't tweet it out instantaneously. But yeah, you saw some of the younger players here today, including DeVries, including Salas. They've had a couple of pitching injuries that we'll get into, including a prospect who took a liner off his face today on the road against the Dodgers. But Salas and DeVries play. Padres have won a couple of games, and spring training is underway. And we're about a month out from the regular season.
Yeah, it's going along. I don't feel as compelled to know every little detail of because they're pretty set. You know what I mean? Like they're pretty set as a team going into this year. The only thing you have to be aware of is injuries. There's not really a position battle of a young player that's looking to make the club like last year with Jackson Merrill. Like last year, I was glued to everything and anything Jackson Merrill did. This year, there's not a player that is like Jackson Merrill. I think watching Salas and DeVries today is definitely fun for the future. And I think Mike Schilt mentioned this is the time when they start their true journeys to the big league club, probably towards towards next year. I think one thing that stood out to me was DeVries is an athlete, and that kid can play some shortstop from the early jump of things. And I would say going forward, they need to do everything they possibly can to give him the tools to become the shortstop of the future. Like, don't move him, have him be the shortstop. They moved Jackson Merrill, they moved Fernando Tatis Jr. They're eventually going to move Xander Bogaerts. To me, it's like whenever this kid's ready, you just give him the reins and let him go.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of you got to be careful with spring training. Not that he did anything. I mean, he made a play on the left side of the infield. He went 0-for-3. But
I was just saying he's an athlete, and he's he's really athletic.
I bet he is. I'm just saying, I'm not giving this kid the reins in 2026. It's just off the top of my head. That's what I would say, right? How could he possibly be your shortstop in 2026? I don't care what he does in 2025. He's 18.
No, yeah, I agree.
So I'm with you on that. It's just, I'm just always very cautious with a player of that age. I mean, Merrill is a great example of someone that broke through despite being a 20-year-old, and he was 21 a month into the season. I mean, that's incredible. But in 2026, this time in 2026, DeVries will be 19.
Mm-hmm. So Tatis was 19 when he got brought up.
Yeah, I'm just always cautious when it comes to that young of a player. Maybe it's a possibility. I mean, maybe it's a possibility, but I mean, to be an everyday player in 2026 to me seems a little bit, I don't know, but a little bit of wishful thinking is what I would say today. I mean, we'll see how it plays out over the next year. To me, it might be more like a 2027, 2028 when he's 20,
Well, I mean,
20 years old.
Tatis was 19 when he got brought up, and he was the everyday shortstop, and he shined from the jump. Now he got injured, but he showed, you knew he belonged right away.
Right.
DeVries still has some time to have to prove those types of things. But if by next spring training, he puts together a comparable spring training to like Tatis's 2019, then that's where I'm like, okay, give it to him,
Mm.
and I'm not afraid to give a spot of that importance to a 19-year-old kid because, like, Tatis did it.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't that a tough comp? Even like I haven't looked at Tatis's minor league numbers and I know DeVries only had a year in the minor leagues.
Yeah.
There's no way. Again, maybe DeVries will do it this year, and maybe that'll make me change my opinion. I'm not sure, but I feel like Tatis was a pretty damn productive minor league player. I know he was hurt. I know he dealt with injuries in the minor leagues, but he was a very productive minor league hitter.
Yes,
and maybe DeVries will be. Maybe DeVries will be.
And I agree. Like DeVries is going to have to prove it. He's going to have to go out and earn it. It's not going to just be given to him. But I do think if he goes out and earns it, then it's like, okay, go ahead, man. Like he has the body, he has the build, he has the athleticism.
Yep.
If he's making those plays at 18 right now, and his arm is like, whoa. I think if he continues to build off that, and he does show with the bat some promise, and he does make a leap, and by next year, if he's putting on a show in spring training, it's probably going to be very hard for this team to say, yeah, let's give him some more time in the minors.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. But to your point, he's going to have to. I mean, he's a long way from being the guy that's kind of pushed through and made the team, isn't he? From everything we know, from Schultz Sanadiego, like I don't even know who this guy is. Like he's, this is his first big league camp. Let's just see what he's like. What's he like off the field? What's he like on the field? What are his demeanors like?
But don't you?
I don't even know how many plate appearances he's going to have this spring. He's going to get 30 plate appearances. I mean.
But don't you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't you, in the little that you've seen of him, not in spring training, but just like overall, isn't the little you've seen of him where you can see that he might have it?
He has to have it. Yes, I agree. I mean, I think in low A, in the Cal League, he was really good. You always take it with a grain of salt because it's the Cal League and the ball flies. But yeah, I mean, everyone, I think, is a full believer in his tools and his skill set. I think there's no question about that. But from tools and skill set to playoff contending team playing every day. But then again, Merrill did it. You're right. Tatis did it. They brought up Chris Paddock as a pitcher at a very young age when he broke through in 2019. 2019, the expectations weren't exactly the same as they were once we got into the 2020s. Although at the time they kind of sold us on, hey, we don't want to not have Tatis and Paddock with us and then miss the postseason by 2 or 3 games. And that was the rationale for bringing them up. To their credit, that was the rationale for having them. So no, I mean, I think, listen, if you hit on DeVries and Salas at any point, like forget about the timeline for a second, but if DeVries is like a 10-year starter for you, or Salas is a 10-year starter for you, I'm not as worried about the timeline. Like I say, fully develop the players, get it right, and then hopefully both of them contribute. I mean, they both have huge upsides. They're both going to be counted on. I mean, we've heard Eric Rupner talk this offseason, and like they're not going to go out and buy every single position on the diamond. So they need Salas and DeVries to hit. They've invested heavily in those two players internationally. And, I don't know when it's going to be, Jim. If it's 2026, incredible. But truthfully, if it's 2027 and they're ready, I'd prefer 2027 ready to 2026 and they're not ready. I would guess Salas would be beyond 2026, like not opening day 2026, because there's just so few catchers at his age in the major leagues.
Yeah, that was my next question is, well, I think there's a possibility of DeVries breaking camp with the team next year if he continues to develop and get better and goes out and proves it and takes that, right? I think there's a possibility.
Sure. Yep.
I still think, even though Salas had a great double today and defensively everyone's like, oh, he's so ahead of everybody, I still think holding him back and making sure that he's not rushed into this would be the wise decision. And could be wrong. They could bring him up next year as well. And DeVries and Salas could break camp with the team next season and prove everybody wrong. But I think DeVries makes the big league club before Salas. What do you think?
I mean, I think he probably should, just based on position. They're the exact same age. I mean, I was just looking at, like, to your point, Like, how much seasoning does Salas have right now? He's had 759 plate appearances, but because of his position, you have to think about how much defense he's playing as well, because you're asking him to be the starting catcher. But I mean, the adage would be 1,500 plate appearances in the minor leagues to get season. Now, you could rush it when you've got a one-of-one player like a Tatis or maybe a DeVries or a Salas. Maybe they don't need 1,500 plate appearances. I have no clue how many Tatis had. It probably wasn't that many. He had
It was a lot.
He had
Tatis had a lot.
1,266. He had 1,266 plate appearances, Tatis, in the minor leagues.
So, yeah, that's a good amount.
Over 500 more than Salas. And then you look at, like, DeVries, and DeVries to this point is 438. I mean, if Tatis was 1,200, DeVries is 2 years away from 1,200 because he's at 400. So 400 plus 400 plus 400, maybe a little quicker than that. But, you know, he's second half.
But then look at how many at-bats Jackson Merrill had.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I'll look right now. It's gonna be a low number. I'll look right now. It's a good point. I'll say it'll be 1,000. 881, which is a really low number, obviously. But again, and to their credit, maybe he's a special, unique, one every 10-year player in their system because they haven't had anyone like him in the last 10 years that have come up.
No.
So that's a good point. I mean, listen, Salas DeVries, one of them hopefully contributes in some meaningful way in 2026. Would you take that? One of them contributes in a meaningful way in 2026. Would you take that? I think most people would take that.
I think people would take that as well, but I don't think people should be expecting it. If that make I hope, and the Padres hope, but by no means should anybody just expect these guys to be with this team next year. They're going to have to go out and earn it. They're going to have to go out and take it. I think they can. I think DeVries can. I think Salas can. I just would be worried more about Salas than DeVries, to be honest with you. Like, a lot more worried, just because histories of 18, 19, 20-year-old catchers, it takes a while. But the history with 19, 20-year-old shortstops, they pop pretty quick sometimes. Not really with 19, 20-year-old catchers.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a good point. I mean, we'll see. Here's the thing, like Omar puts, and thanks guys for hanging out. If you're here live or on replay, please subscribe here on Content For You. We're a month out from opening day. Smash the like button for us. Subscribe. Follow us on X at John Schaefer at Jim Russell SD. We appreciate the super chats. Click the $ below the chat box. We'll get to all of your supers here tonight if you have a question or comment. But this from Omar, I mean, it's just interesting. So Tatis obviously hit for power in the minor leagues. I think DeVries has hit for a little bit of power in the minor leagues. Salas certainly is not. So, like, yeah, was Tatis a more advanced hitter at 18? I mean, Tatis is one of the best hitters in baseball. So, like, when you think about that, among the 30 teams, Tatis is one of the great raw hitters in the sport. So I don't know if that'll ever be Leo DeVries or Ethan Salas, certainly. But, yeah, I mean, Tatis was like you hate to use the term generational, but I mean, kind of is a generational hitter, isn't he? I mean, he hit 41 home runs as a 21-year-old, or 42 home runs, or whatever he hit.
I mean, Leo Dallas.
Yeah.
DeVries. Last year in the Cal League, it's the Cal League, you're right. He had 11 home runs in 75 games and 299 plate appearances, 22 doubles, 3 triples.
Yeah.
So he had 25 plus 11, 36. Yeah, 36 extra base hits. His average hit 237, but he had a 361 on base.
Yeah, it's really good. Yep.
He's got an 802 OPS. So, you just expect those to get better. What if this year he hits 18 home runs?
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know where he will start this year. Will he start in Peoria? Will he start in AA? I would start him in single A. I'd start him, start him in Fort Wayne, right?
Yeah, probably.
Because Fort Wayne is now advanced A. I'd start him in Fort Wayne. If it works, bring him up to AA, not to the major leagues. But there's no need to rush it, is my point. If these guys are such pure, hitters and everything's going to go smoothly for them this year, that's great. Then let it come to them. It doesn't have to be forced. It's not like you have to be in AA to start the year or have to be in AAA to finish the year. Just put together a productive year. Don't rush it. You're right. They'll get chances in 2026 in spring training, in camp. Maybe one of them will have an opportunity to earn a job. Shoot, maybe both of them will have an opportunity to earn a job. But I would say this, Jim, if we get into 2026 and I'm here from Grupner or whoever the hell's running this team, John Seidler, hey, we think DeVries and Salas are both going to fight for starting jobs next year. I'd be like, that's
Right.
telling me that you're not. I mean, okay, maybe that's good for the long term for the organization, but that doesn't scream like we're going to win 93 games and challenge in the postseason if you got 2 rookie starters among your position players in 2026. That's just how I see it right now. They'd be like 19 years old.
Yeah.
But
you also have to think too, after this season, John, they might be going through a little bit of a transition period. Unless they do go out and sign a bunch of free agents in free agency to a bunch of, but there might be a little bit of a transition period after this year because of what you're losing, like another year older of Xander, who they don't want to play it short. You're going to lose 3 of your top players. And you are going to be going through some type of transition, whether they rebuild the team with free agents or they decide to build, have guys from within. Like eventually it will be a little bit of a transition.
It's fair. You're right. There will be. You're right. And a year from now, you're getting further removed from the true primes of Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts. Like now we can argue that point, and great players that might be on Hall of Fame tracks like Manny Machado can put off their, decline, right? Like great players can put off their decline to age 35, right? But Manny next year's 33, or maybe he turns 33 in July of this year. So he'll turn 34 in July of next year. I think that's right. So you're getting to a point where if you don't win now or soon, it's going to get a lot more challenging, because if you're asking a 36-year-old Manny Machado to have his career year, that doesn't seem overly likely to me. So, okay, he's going to be 33 this year. He could flat out produce. There's no question about it. He homered on the first pitch he saw this spring. I think it's a good omen. It's not a bad one. Him being healthy from an elbow is a good omen. It's not a bad one. But you're asking guys like Machado and Bogaerts, who, if you just look at the statistical trend lines of 32, 33-year-old players that have played as much as they have, they're not likely to have their best year in the major leagues right now. It's possible, but I wouldn't call it likely that Manny Machado's career year or Xander Bogaerts' career year is right now. And I hope they prove me wrong.
I agree. And going off the point of if, you do go through a little bit of a transition next year and you might have to go a little younger. If those guys did hit, that's the dream scenario for the Padres, is that one of either DeVries or Salas really hits, and the other guy is just like a solid 10, 12, 15-year vet. Like he's just like a solid guy that could play, every day. And he's never going to be like a 10-time All-Star, but he might have one year where he's really good, but he's just like a solid guy for you. And then the other guy pops, and then you have Jackson Merrill. And if those 3 guys there are under team control, making no money, filling up 3 spots on your roster, but contributing, then it gives you so much more wiggle room to go out in free agency to spend when you have 3 key positions, center field, shortstop, and catcher, kind of like under control and not costing you a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's their dream. Now, is that going to work out? I don't know. Who knows? The likelihood of that all clicking, not very high, but there's a likelihood. And so those things happening is what they are banking on, because then it will help the rest of the roster.
And if I look at it like this, and thank you, Ben, who says let's say you didn't have a rise next year. Let's say you didn't have a rise, and you had Cronenworth at first, Xander at second, Manny at third, and then you've got your young pup in Leo DeVries, right? Who's being, taken under the wings of Machado, Bogaerts, and Cronenworth. That's not that abnormal, truthfully, to have a bunch of 30-somethings and then this 19-year-old. You might be saying, well, does that make any sense? Well, it kind of does, because you got veterans to take a player under their wing and maybe help someone get through the trials and tribulations of a season. Where I think it gets a little tricky is if it's also involving Ethan Salas playing 100 and something games. Now, I'm not saying starting a catcher 100 something games, but playing in 100 something games next year. for the Padres. It's just, to me, they're going to have like potentially two cores. You're going to have this, sub 22 core, and then like plus 33, years of age core. Like I'm talking about like Darvish, Musgrove, Bogarts, Machado, Cronenworth. And I don't have all the ages in front of me, but it's just like they're gonna have these like young pups and then these like aging vets, and maybe that's normal too in baseball. It's just like I could be sold on DeVries being a part of a veteran infield. I think when you start putting Salas in there as well at the same time, I just think it's going to be hard to win at the same clip that they've been winning at, but we'll see about that. And also, here's the thing with Salas. Whether he has been DHing or catching in the minor leagues, he has not hit for any power. Now, I'm not saying that that's the indictment that he won't hit for power. He's only 18. I'm just saying that, like, even if he does contribute a year from now, I would never expect him to just all of a sudden blossom into his power right then. That's just how it looks to me based on what he's done so far in the minor leagues. Now, Merrill, again, wasn't the biggest power guy, and he certainly, you could argue, blossomed as a rookie. So we'll see. I think it's like, it's a little bit of a cautionary tale or a fool's gold proposition to say, well, Merrill did it or Tatis did it, so now DeVries is going to do it and Sal's is going to do it. I hope they do, but one of them might not, is kind of the point.
No, I completely agree with you. I'm just going off of like what their vision is. Like this is their vision, is these two players in the next 2 years being with the club and contributing.
Right.
And that's what they hope. That's the same thing with Jackson Merrill. Their vision for Jackson Merrill was contributing either right away or this year, and he contributed in a big way from year one. And when DeVries does come up, you'll have, say he comes up next year, you'll have a 22-year-old in the outfield, and you'll have a 19-year-old at shortstop. Two of the most key positions on the field.
Yeah.
Because Jackson just turned 21 last year.
Well, Jackson will turn 22, right. And so he'll turn 23 next year in like April.
Still 23. And then you got Tatis, who will be what, 27?
He's 26 now. So I think that's right. I think next year will be 27.
27, yeah. Coupled with an older Xander and a 34-year-old Manny.
Yeah.
So like they have a vision and you see it, and they have the players that they're looking at to perform. And like, it's just about, can they do it? Can DeVries and Salas take that step this year to where we're going into spring training next season with these guys making legitimate runs at a roster spot on opening day next year?
It'll be a huge storyline, to your point. We'll get back to the conversation, but you're right. This year, that's not the conversation like it was last year, and like it will be likely next year. All right, we'll get back to the conversation. If you're here live or on replay, we do need to thank our title sponsor on the Wrap-Up Show. Mark Nimitz has been with us since day one. We're pushing like 4 years the Wrap-Up Show, which is incredible. On YouTube, we're pushing 6 seasons of the Wrap-Up Show in general, but 4 years on YouTube, which is incredible. Couldn't do it without your support, everyone here live or on replay, and without the support of our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz. If you have an insurance need, trust us. He is a great, great option for you. I've got homeowners, life, and earthquake insurance through Mark. So I have 3 policies through Mark. If you want to save money, before you renew, get in contact with Mark Nimitz. He does auto, home, renters, life, earthquake, whatever you need. He is a diehard Padres fan, a lifelong San Diegan, has supported the channel since day one, helped get us off the ground. So if you support the channel, click the link in the description down below, get to Mark's website, get free quotes online, or call Mark. He'll talk to you about the Padres and about saving money in your insurance. But I had to file a claim a couple of years ago. He took care of everything. He's a great insurance agent, great service and communication. He's really the best. If you have any insurance needs, please get in contact with our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance.
Yeah, all his information is on that ticker below, mnimitz at farmersagent.com, and you reach out to Mark, let him know that John and Jim from the Wrap-Up Show sent you.
A little bit on today. You saw this play. I think the pronunciation, because I listened to Jesse Agler say it, is Cole Pelham, who is the prospect who got hit on a liner late in this Dodgers game today, this 8-3 loss. He eventually left the game under his own power. Mike Schill talked about it post-game, saying he was conscious, seemed alert, knew where he was, clearly a scary thing. He actually was also hit by a line drive a year ago in a preseason game. So I don't know what his future was looking like. I mean, He's a minor leaguer with upside. I don't think we were expecting to see him anytime soon, but hopefully he's all right. There's a couple of injuries in the staff right now. Sean Reynolds has a stress fracture. He's been in a boot. And Brian Hoeing has been dealing with a shoulder that he described as quote unquote barking. He's going to start throwing, but not in a spring training game as of yet. And Fernando Tatis Jr. missed 2 days with the flu. He was in camp today, but of course he didn't travel with the team to play at Camelback against the Dodgers. So he has not yet appeared in the game. I mean, who cares? It's Fernando Tatis Jr. He's got a month to get ready, but that's always, we've said this already all week long, Jim, that the primary focus here is the health of the team. There are going to be bumps, bruises, nicks, and injuries. It's inevitable with pitchers. You can't have 50 pitchers come out of camp all healthy, but Brian Hoeing was good for this team. Like, he was flat out good for this team down the stretch after the trade deadline. And they have some other pitchers that, whether it's a Sean Reynolds or, there's going to be guys in camp that probably produce for them a little bit in 2024. They're going to want to be healthy in 2025. So nothing to go crazy about as of yet, but some, bumps and bruises along the way.
Right. Not saying these injuries don't matter and these guys don't matter. They do. But when you look at the oh shit meter when it comes to injuries, they're not on the oh shit meter.
No. Completely agree.
So yeah, depth pieces for sure. Sean Reynolds, Brian Hoeing. In your bullpen. And if we get out of spring training with those being the biggest injuries out of spring training, you feel pretty good about yourself.
Sure.
The players that you absolutely can't lose. Your top 4 in the rotation: Manny, Tatis, Merrill, Xander, Luis Ariz, Cronenworth. Those, back in your bullpen. Jason Adam, I think, is definitely on that list. Robert Suarez, Jeremiah Estrada.
Yeah.
The guys everybody I just named, those are the players that if they got injured in spring, it would be oh shit. But
100%.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree with that. I mean, you just know that it's a part of it for all teams. And to JD Gaucho's point, and thank you, we just mentioned this prospect that took the line drive, Cole Pelham, Bobby Miller. We saw it, and it is scary. I mean, nobody wants to see that. And that's the part of baseball that's completely unpredictable. Injuries are really unpredictable. Line drives off your body. You could go your whole career without it happening to you. You can dodge them, or you could get hit twice in back-to-back appearances. That's just how life can kind of work. It's a little bit of lightning striking. So yeah, scary. Bobby Miller took a liner to his face. I saw it. It was absolutely scary. It's a part of baseball. It's a part of sports, and hopefully it doesn't happen for someone that's going to be really impactful for the Padres potentially in 2025. But yeah, nobody wants to see it for Bobby Miller, and I didn't want to see it today with that prospect on the mound either for the Padres. And thank you for the super.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks. Yeah, you never want to see that. One thing I wanted to get into, and we saw it happen today. Your boy Fadden blew up because of it, and it's kind of been blown up at the start of spring training here. Is the ABS system will change baseball forever, for the good, for the better.
Yeah, just not this year.
And the fact that it's not going to be implemented this year, what the F, man? This is awesome. We need it right now. It will change the game for the better. It will hold umpires accountable. It will take away the BS calls in games. You blew up because your tweet blew up, bro. And I think it's great. I think that it's that and the pitch clock are going to be great additions to the sport.
I like it. And I don't see why they wouldn't use it in the regular season in 2025. There's probably a couple of tweaks I would make to it. I don't love the, hey, I just lost the game and got called out on a third strike. Let me just use the challenge, which was used by Seattle in the first game of spring against the Padres. And I completely understand it. It's why not use a challenge if you've been rung up to end a game? So I completely understand that. So maybe they're using it for this spring to tweak it for next spring, but I'm with you. I think it should absolutely be a part of the 2025 regular season. Shoot, if anything, I'd put it in the postseason. I mean, you're going to decide postseason games. And listen, let's be clear. Plate umpiring is awful. We all agree. So if plate umpiring is awful, wouldn't we want meaningful pitches being determined and called properly?
Yeah.
And they're not giving
100%.
teams 20 challenges. You get 2. And if you get it right, you keep them. So in theory, if the umpire sucks, you could challenge 10, 12, 14, 16 pitches if you keep getting them right. Or if the umpire is good, you're not going to challenge anything.
Right. And I think eventually in the future, there's going to I don't understand how there can't be like an umpire has like a buzzer, and anytime the ball is out of the zone, it buzzes. So it's like, okay, it's a ball. And then if it's in the zone, it doesn't buzz, that's a strike. And I don't see how that can't happen now with the ABS system being implemented, like in the future.
They have used that in the minors and in the Atlantic League, where the umpire is just signaling what he gets in his ear, right? Strike, strike, ball, ball. I think the reason Major League Baseball has tried to shy away from that is they don't want to take the subjectivity away, and they don't want to take pitch framing out of the game. Because now you're even bad umpiring, you're not going to challenge everything. Because we're watching these spring training games. They're not challenging the 1-0 pitch, Jim. You know what I mean? Because it's like there's so much more meaningful sequencing going on that you're probably not going to challenge it. Maybe Manny Machado would, because it's Manny Machado. Like, I'll tell you what, Tyler Wade won't have the ability to challenge the first pitch he sees in a plate appearance. They're going to tell him, hey, dude, you're not challenging shit, because we're going to need our challenges for like someone like Manny Machado or a late game situation. So if it's egregious, you're going to get a challenge. But I kind of like just having challenges because I like catchers playing a role with framing. Because if you take framing out of the game, it's like you're taking the like importance of good defensive catchers out of the game.
I just think that the ABS system is going to not completely fix egregious calls, but it will definitely help with calls that if we're sitting at home saying that's a strike or that's a ball, those will be rectified now for the most part. Not all of them.
Until you run out of challenges.
That's my point. Not for like not 100% until you run out of challenges, exactly. But for the most part, if it's used properly and not used at a level of like just using it to use it, right? Like you use it, you have a strategy, and you only use it when you think that you can win it. I think it can really help a lot.
It'll be interesting to see how teams use it. Like, do you save if you lose one of the 2 challenges early? Do you save your second for the 9th inning?
Yeah, I mean it's
just like let something go.
It's almost like the challenge system in basketball, where like you're going to see a lot of players. Now the players decide this, not the manager, right?
Correct. It's okay. I don't know if it's pitcher, catcher, batter that can challenge. Pitcher, catcher, batter.
I was going to say in basketball, the coach has to challenge it, but there's a lot of times in basketball, the players are like yelling at the coach, like, you got to challenge.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of times doesn't come back and whatnot. And that's more of like a judgment call when you watch it. This is like a straightforward, like, is it in the zone or is it out of the zone? It's let me
give you an example. Let's say you used a challenge in the first inning. Machado's up, okay? 0-2 pitch. No, 3-2 pitch. And he's like, bullshit, challenge. Gets it wrong, okay?
Yeah.
Let's say later in that very same inning, the bases are loaded with 2 outs. And like there's another egregious, what you think is egregious, you're probably going to use it right there because you got the bases loaded. And like it's the difference between a run scoring or not. Or do you not use it because you might need it later?
No, it's a good. I get that. I think I can't wait until a game starts with a challenge. You know what I mean?
That'll happen. Yeah. Or end with a challenge that like game's over, but then you challenge it, you get it right, and then a base hit through the right side, and the result changes from a called third strike to an RBI single to win the game.
See, I think that if I was a player, it would have to be pretty egregious for me to use it. And I think the strategy should be like, first, everyone has to communicate, right? And if there's a pitch that's being called a strike consistently for everybody, but it is
just let it go.
Yeah, then just let it go. Or if there's a pitch that is called consistently, and then for all of a sudden it's turned like to a ball or a strike or whatever, then that's when you use it. Like you have to communicate, like, hey, watch that pitch, and if that pitch is called a strike when we know it when it's been called a ball, then you got to use it. Type of thing.
That's the strategy part of it is the most fascinating part of it, and we're not going to see it in the regular season. I don't think there's any strategy in spring training, but I do think
they're just like screw it, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. HBBBV, thank you, man, for the super chat, guys. If you're here, please subscribe. You're on content for you, and thank you for the supers. Click the $ below the chat box. We appreciate your support, and it's a great way to get your comment on screen. We'll interact with it. You can control the direction of the conversation. He says Manny and the boys need to go to the SDFC home game, which will be Saturday. Now they won't, unfortunately. They'll be in Peoria still. They play Saturday in Peoria, but Manny is a part owner of SDFC. Could he be there? Maybe that's a possibility. I don't know the answer to that.
I highly doubt it.
Be surprised? Yeah,
I highly doubt it. Now I get more worked up over this what I'm about to talk about than you do. I don't think you really care, but the fact that the SDFC season started today, and this has happened a lot with the Padres. For whatever reason, they don't like tweeting out their support for other teams in San Diego. Do you have a problem with that, or do you not care?
Oh, okay. So you're saying the obligatory, hey, we're the Philadelphia Phillies, good luck Eagles in the Super Bowl, or we're the LA Dodgers, good luck to the Lakers in the conference finals tweet? Is that what you're talking about?
The Padres finally actually tweeted out something years ago when the Aztecs actually made like the national championship game. That was like incredible. But I'm just talking about like, it took until them getting to the national championship.
Crazy because of their most iconic player in the history of their franchise was at San Diego State before he was ever a Padre, right? In Tony Gwynn. Like that isn't. So wait, are you telling me that they didn't tweet anything today for San Diego FC?
Fuck no, they didn't. They don't give a shit.
I mean, I personally don't get up in arms. Your point's valid. I know people that it's like, here's the thing. I don't need every sports organization tweeting out Happy Flag Day or it's Arbor Day from San Diego Sports 760. I don't care. San Diego Sports 760 doesn't have to say Merry Christmas. I'm not going to be upset because they didn't do it. I feel like sometimes organizations and brands go overboard with that. Happy Thanksgiving from Kogo. Okay. I didn't know that we were best of friends. So that's why, to me, I don't need it. If someone does, I know maybe some people do. Me personally, I'm cool with it. But if people want it, I understand that too. It's just my 2 cents on it.
It's totally fine. I understand where you're coming from. It doesn't really mean anything to you. I am just coming from a standpoint of San Diegans, and I've been in this town long enough. They love, and everybody loves, the togetherness of the city. It's like almost like a us versus everyone mentality because of all the shit that's happened here sports wise to the fans. And, like the wave, the goals, I think, the Seals, I'm not sure. I just would appreciate if every team in town supported each other. Because
they may support without sending out a tweet.
But at least it shows it. I mean, look, the only time that the Padres will tweet anything other than Padres related content is if the Aztecs made the national championship game or SDFC made the MLS Cup, right? Like you gotta really it takes that much for you to just support them. I don't know. I just think that they think they're the big dog on campus, and they are, but they don't open their arms and be like, everybody, we love everybody. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like they do, in my opinion.
That's a fair take. I completely respect it, but let me just say this one thing, because your take's completely fair, and maybe they should address it publicly, to your point, so people are aware. But I guess my point would be, we don't know what goes on internally. We don't know what type of relationship the organizations would have with each other. Like, I think the Padres actually have a very strong tie to San Diego State football, basketball, baseball, for example. There's been a lot of first pitches. There's been a lot of tickets. I think there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people aren't aware of. I'll give you an example. Padres like working out at Tony Gwynn Stadium with baseball. That's happened routinely over the, like, I think there is relationships with some of these organizations that play out. I think it just plays out behind closed doors.
Yeah, and I
And the
get that.
Padres probably have to each their own. They probably have a strategy, and maybe it doesn't involve congratulating the San Diego Gulls for winning the AHL or the Seals for making the NLL playoffs. I understand the point. I mean, here's my theory on it. Hear me out real quick, to your point, because you think, and I agree with you, that the Padres think they're the top dog, right? In the sports hierarchy in San Diego, right? Post Chargers, of course.
Yeah.
It's like have I ever told you, like, the LinkedIn theory? Everyone on LinkedIn is trying to connect up. Nobody connects down. Like, if you're the president of iHeartRadio, you're like, oh, Jim Russell's it. Let me connect with Jim. No, the president of iHeartRadio now wants to connect with, like, the head of the FCC, or like everyone's trying to connect up. So the Padres are already at the top. Why are they trying to connect down? They're basically giving additional credence and credibility to other organizations around them. But I wonder if that has something to do with it, because they're the perceived top dog.
I just see it happen so much in other markets.
Yeah, it does.
That it kind of just makes me a little irked that, like, you don't have time just to tweet out one little tweet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
it doesn't take much time. I don't know.
Yeah, no, your point's valid. I bet I would love to put that up as a poll right now and say who agrees with that. Like, should the Padres have tweeted out a congratulatory message?
No, not even
before,
congratulatory messages. Be like good luck on your inaugural
That's what I mean.
season. Like,
That's what I mean.
Like, dude, the face of your franchise is a co-owner of the team. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, you kind of do have a partnership whether you like it or not. And I know for a fact that they have had issues with, like, supporting other teams in town.
Okay.
From that standpoint, not from like behind closed doors, but like,
sure,
like the fucking Padres. Who cares? You know what I mean?
I just put a poll up. I'm very fascinated to see what people in the chat have to say about that. So look at the top of the chat right now, and there's a poll. Should the Padres have? I guess I don't know what I put. I just put it up there. Should the Padres have wished SDFC good luck prior to their debut match tonight? Yes or no? So
I think, like, I'll just use this as an example. In the Bay Area, all right, every single sports team up there, they support each other, at least socially. And
right,
the other day,
those are also, like, you're also talking about leagues that exist in the Bay Area that don't exist here, because you're talking NBA, NHL,
okay,
NFL, Major League Baseball. We only have one of those
now. Well, we have two now. I mean,
Major League Soccer. Of the four that I just said, though, I'm saying okay. Then if the San Francisco Giants are wishing the San Jose Earthquakes good luck every year, okay, are they?
They are. So are the 49ers. So are the San Jose Sharks. So are
Do they really mean it?
It doesn't matter if they mean it or not.
But that's what I'm saying. If it's just hollow, like, are they doing it just to do it?
I think they're doing it not because they don't mean it. I think it's just one of those, like, I don't know, like, everyone supports each other. I don't know. That's just how I view it. I kind of I don't know. I just view it as not that hard of a thing to be like, good luck on your season. Like, everyone supports each other. Like, that's
I mean, they definitely, I understand that. I get that.
Yeah, if token acknowledgement, okay, it's token acknowledgement, but at least it's acknowledgement,
right? Yeah, I mean, I think to tie a bow on that, and we'll get to Richard. I think it actually goes back to your initial point, some of it, which is the truth is they're in direct competition with each other. Like, let's be real, they're in direct competition, dude. There are going to be 6 Saturday nights this year that San Diego FC are playing at home on the same 6 Saturday nights as the Padres, are they not? They play all year.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
so
there's
now we're competing with it. But okay, no, I get that. It's like, but that's not what I would want as a sports city. I would want a sports city of all sports teams supporting each other. That's just kind of how I feel.
I get it. And it's just like a lot of San Diegans didn't want the San Diego Chargers to go to Los Angeles, but there are probably businesses and organizations that have reaped the rewards of the NFL not being here. Are there not? I mean, they wouldn't say that publicly. I mean, the San Diego Padres would be the primary beneficiary of the NFL leaving San Diego. We would never hear that.
Yeah, but like, don't you see all the time from like the Dodgers, like, good luck Chargers, and then the Chargers being like, good luck Dodgers.
Yeah,
like,
and I'm always like, F that. Like, why are the Chargers congratulating the Dodgers? Dodgers don't even know who the Chargers are.
Right, but still, it's showing support for, and if you want to say it's token support, okay, but at least it's a front-facing support of
the Chargers thing. Probably pisses people off though, because it's like you showed up at the doorstep. And now you're trying to pretend like you're a part of the neighborhood. Like, you're not part of the neighborhood, dude. Yeah. We could talk about tomorrow, John and Jim. Good segment. Good way to good 12 minutes. Richard, thank you. He says, what happens to an umpire if he keeps getting overturned? Are you both doing remotes on Friday games this year in the gas lamp? We'll be in San Diego in August. Umpires are part of a union. They will go nowhere. They could get everything wrong. You can't get rid of them. It takes 20 years of being awful. Angel Hernandez is the example. So the umpires will go nowhere, even if they're, overturned all game long. I don't know if we're doing remotes or not. I think we'll have that determined hopefully in the next few weeks. We've done it the last few years on Fridays. Hopefully that continues in 2025, but I don't think it's been determined as of yet. Has it, Jim?
I don't know.
So no, we don't know. Stay tuned. But thank you, Richard. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
HBBV says Manny deleted Padres from his bio. He agrees, Jim.
He's he's like a minority owner of the team.
Yeah. I am a little surprised because of that. That's the only reason why I'm surprised, because of Manny. Like, you know what they're going to do, dude? Saturday, like, congratulations on your home opener.
Yeah, probably.
That's what they're going to do.
I don't know. I just think it'd be cool. Like, if I was a part of that social team, like, I would, just be like, look, just make a quick graphic. Who cares? And then their little spring training stuff that they do, right? Have it be like soccer related, because like, I don't know, just I just think it'd be cool.
It would. It wouldn't not be cool. I mean, nobody would be like, "How dare you do that?" So why not?
You know what I can guarantee? You know what I can guarantee? I can guarantee that the San Diego Wave and the and STFC and the Goals and
are going to tweet about the Padres.
Are going to tweet about the Padres.
Yeah, but that's my LinkedIn theory, because they're like playing up.
Well, okay. From the goals and the seal standpoint, yes. But guess what? MLS and the Wave, they're major league sports teams as well. Not to the level of the Padres. I get it.
That's what I'm saying. I know your point's valid. They're professionals. It's major league. I would never argue that. But there's just a hierarchy, right? Like you would say the NFL in that hierarchy is somewhere.
So if the NFL is the king of the top, right?
Yeah, most people think so.
Yeah. Then the Niners tweeting out good luck to the San Jose earthquake would be considerably punching down for them, but then they still do it.
It's fair. They like, to your point, they're probably some type of agreement. Like, let's just do it. It looks great. Let's all be rah-rah supportive of the Bay. But let's be honest. I mean, I don't know if the Niners were tweeting out good luck Raiders, or like the Giants were tweeting out good luck A's, when they were in the Bay Area. So we'll talk about it again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Speaking of tomorrow, Pick one of these up and have it by opening day, a Mova Globe. All right. This is a great, great gift idea for the baseball fan in your life. This company is based right here in San Diego. This technology was invented actually in Cardiff by the Sea. These spin automatically with artificial or natural light. And if you use promo code PWS10, you're going to get 10% off these puppies. They have all 30 teams officially licensed, through Major League Baseball, companies based in San Diego. They've got Padres globes for you while supplies last. You can have them by opening day. These are great gift ideas, perfect for the baseball fan in your life. Click the link in the description down below. Use promo code PWS10 and get 10% off your Mova Globe. You're going to love them. Your family's going to love them. They have many more globes than just baseball globes as well. So make sure to check them out. Click that link in the description down below and pick up a Mova Globe today.
Yeah, see, by the way, I'm supportive of all San Diego sports, wearing a SDFC jersey and a Padres hat and all this other stuff. But getting a Mova Globe here, if you're a Padres fan, is something you got to do. It's great for a shelf, great for a desk, great for an office, great for a bookshelf, especially if you're a Padres fan. Pick one of these up today. Use our promo code. It's in the description below. And yeah, these is great presents. It's great just to own one as well. And if you don't want a Mova Globe with the Padres, you can get one of their cool Mova Globes that are, Earth or something in space. Yeah, that Earth Mova Globe I have, it's out in my living room on my bookshelf, and every day, because it's in the sun, it spins, and it's really, really freaking cool.
I do like this. I'd love to see an SDFC globe. That's a great idea. I'll talk to Michael. I love that.
You hear that, Michael?
Coming soon. Maybe.
Yes.
To put a bow though on your point, can't we also agree though, like kind of to each their own? Like,
sure.
There might be, like you said, you might be a fan of SDFC and the Padres. There might be other people that are only SDFC fans. Might be other people that are just Padres fans. There might be people that are Padres fans that root for LAFC, and there might be people that root for the Lakers, but they also root for the Padres. I'm just making it up. So, like, it's to each their own. I get the identity of rallying around San Diego sports specifically. I do think that makes a lot of sense, but I'm not gonna cast like further whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, does it really matter?
In the grand scheme of things, no, it doesn't really matter. But I do like the perception of it. I would much rather have every sports team in this town supporting each other, at least that way, than not, and being kind of like individualizing things. I mean, like, you got this over here, you got this over here, because a lot of things are like, and I get with the Aztecs, if you're not an alum, it's hard, but I've seen a lot of like infighting with certain fan bases of teams of I can see it now. MLS fans being like, and Padres fans being like, MLS is fucking stupid. And then MLS fans being like, F you,
Yeah.
And then like Aztecs fans and Padres fans, they fight all the time. And it's like, it would do a lot. I think it would be a nice gesture if all these teams would just like come together and like have
That's
support
a good
for each
point.
other.
I hadn't thought about it that way.
Like, because you see it. There's a lot of
I don't see as much as I used to, but yeah, I know maybe it's because I mute people.
Yeah, I don't like overly look for it a lot, but there's a lot of like, oh, you guys don't know shit about soccer, or like, soccer fans or like, just, I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. There is some of that. Yeah, I get your point.
I just don't see it. I mean, maybe I'm naive to it, but like, I don't know. When I go somewhere else for like, if I go to like Philadelphia, that place is like sports, like city, right?
Right.
I don't know if I see like Phillies fans being like, "Fuck you, Eagles fans!" Like,
never.
You know what I mean? Like, or Eagles fans being like, "Fuck you, Phillies fans," or like, you know what I mean? Like, but I see that here. I see a lot of Padres fans like being like, "Fuck you, soccer fans," or like, "Fuck you to Aztecs fans."
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting point. Yeah, I don't know what it was like Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it, but that's a fair point. It's a fair point. I don't think it depends on the city, because in Los Angeles you have multiple teams per sport. Same thing with New York. So there's a lot of infighting in certain cities. New York's a perfect example. Yankees, Mets, right? Giants, Jets, right? I'm sure LA has some of it. But yeah, it's a good point. A place like maybe Boston or Philadelphia, I think you'd all be rallying around your sports teams, where I don't know if we get that same consistency in San Diego. And I also don't know this, Jim. If the Padres tweeted "Congrats SDFC," I don't know if that then ends all the tweeting.
No,
It's like these ads
But-
stand up to hate. Has that gotten rid of hate? Unfortunately, not.
But hey, you might get maybe some Padres fans be like, "Oh, my favorite baseball team likes soccer. Let me check it out."
Yeah.
And maybe I like soccer too, instead of being like ignorant to it and being like,
Let's see what happens this Saturday. I have a sneaking suspicion they're going to tweet something out and acknowledge it for their home opener because of Manny. To your point,
maybe they do. Maybe Manny tweets something out. I didn't see anything from him on social media today.
Yeah, good point. That is kind of weird. Yeah,
Like,
maybe
unless I'm mistaken. Hold on, let me check here. Oh
On
no,
Instagram.
sorry, there is something from Manny.
Oh, nice.
There's a couple things from Manny. There's multiple things from Manny. Manny Machado tweeted out Padres blogger.
Is that right?
Or put on his
he
Instagram.
He has like thousands and thousands and thousands of likes on some of this stuff.
Yeah.
A couple other notes from today, Jim. Did you know that Tirso Ornelas worked a 12-pitch walk today?
12 pitch?
Yeah, 12-pitch walk.
So no, I did not know that, John.
He also doubled. Let's see. Jackson Merrill had a base hit. No, this is in the A's. This is the A's game. This is 2 days ago. So Ornelas had a 12-pitch walk. Arise had 2 hits on Saturday. Merrill had a base hit. Oscar Gonzalez in the first 2 games was 3 for 5. Yuli Gurriel is old, but he Waldron allowed a run against the A's. Just looking if there's anything of interest. Your boy Martin Maldonado successfully challenged a ball call on Saturday. Okay. I mean, it's very exciting.
Hey,
I mean, the fact that
heard Randy Vasquez is starting tomorrow.
Randy Vasquez starts tomorrow, and there's 31 games. What could we possibly say? I mean, the most significant thing is health. The most significant thing is getting these pitchers built up, these starters built up, and health. And I don't even know what to make. And hopefully, like you said, like a Leo DeVries or Ethan Salas is a really nice camp, and it gets them off on the right foot for 2025 in the minor leagues.
Yeah, I'm interested to see Nick Pivetta when he makes his first start. Right. But other than that, like I said, when you don't have a young player like a Jackson Merrill looking to make the club out of spring, or like that flashy new free agent signing or trade that you made in the offseason, pitching for you or hitting for you, you've kind of seen, I've seen this. I've seen Manny. Like, yeah, it's great. Don't get me wrong. Love watching Manny hit. Love watching Toddy hit. Jackson Merrill hit. But you're almost like, okay, cool. That's great. Let's get to the real thing now. And that's just how I feel. Like, some people are psycho out there, and that's totally fine. I get it. You want to watch every single pitch. Penn Fadden. But I'm more like, all right, stay healthy. Don't get injured. Let's get to the regular season. Let's get this thing going, because we know the main characters here with a couple new faces. Sorry, Connor Joe and Jason Hayward. Connor Hayward. Yeah, one of them's going to be starting.
Yeah, definitely.
But like,
you're muted, dude. I can't hear you.
Sorry.
How'd you do that?
Dude.
Did I mute you? It could have been me.
You muted my mic.
I didn't even realize it could have been me. I don't know. Why did he leave? Hold on. Why did you leave?
I need to reload my page. What the heck? What's going on?
Well, we have to be on the right side. What
You know,
were you saying while we couldn't hear you?
You want to know a trick to this? So watch. So like, I can.
Move us.
I wasn't doing it.
How?
There we go.
How'd you do that?
I just dragged myself to
Oh, it's
you,
dope.
and then it just does it. Hold on. There we go. Boom.
That is crazy.
Technology. I touch when I touch my mic in a certain way, like I lose my hearing.
Cool. Jay, thank you for the, I don't know. Thank you for the super. He says, check the owner on the LA Galaxy wiki page.
Well, I'm guessing
did they
it's
put
SDFC.
SDFC? That's funny, man. That's funny.
You know,
kinda nice
that's the first home loss for the Galaxy in over a year.
Yeah, October of 2023. And that's kind of cool. Like a San Diego team in its first ever match beats not just an LA team, but the defending MLS Cup champs. Like that's pretty cool. Like you didn't just beat like Austin FC. I don't know anything about Austin FC or like Charlotte
You beat the
SC
defending champs straight up. You got 3 points.
Yeah, it's not like some random, like what?
And you outplayed them the entire match. I watched that whole game. And they whooped their ass.
Good. Keep doing it.
Exactly.
Moving forward. I don't know if it's the whole season is going to play out like that or not, but hopefully it's a nice start if that is how the season is going to play out. While we have a moment, we do want to remind you that our friends at Underdog Fantasy are back with us here in 2025. It could not be simpler or easier to play at Underdog. Let's explain. It's just simple higher or lowers. Okay. So, for example, let's say Paul George higher than 18.5 points tomorrow. And you can couple that with, I want to find another game. You can couple that with Nikola Jokic, let's say higher than 27.5 points. All right. Simple as that. $20. If that hits, if Jokic goes for 28, if George goes for 19, $20 pays 60. It's as simple as that. Now you could pick 3, 4, 5 times. You can win up to 1,000 times your money in a single night. If you use promo code PODSWRAP, that's PADSWRAP, you're going to get a 50% deposit match, okay, up to $1,000, their best offer ever, and a gimme first pick. What's a gimme first pick? They're going to take something like Jokic, and as opposed to saying 27.5 points higher or lower, it's going to say a half point. So if he scores 1 point, you get the win. You're halfway there on a two-player pick 'em. So couldn't be easier, couldn't be simpler. We've been playing for years. We've had some huge wins on Underdog over the years, and you can as well. So use promo code PODSWRAP. That's PADSWRAP. Click the link in the description down below. Here's the other thing. You can play across sports. You can do Major League Baseball, and you can couple it with NBA. You can do NFL. You can couple it with college football, and so on and so forth. They've got FIFA. So whatever it is, you can play it at Underdog Fantasy and make sure to use promo code PODSWRAP. Get that 50% deposit match plus that free gimme pick as well.
Yep. Scan the QR code above my head right here. Use promo code PODSWRAP. Underdog Fantasy is super easy to use. It's fun to play. And once you start winning some money, it becomes really fun. Picking higher or lower on simple stats, like points, rebounds, assists, how many singles, home runs, doubles, strikeouts, innings pitched, batters faced, it could not be easier to do. So use promo code PODSWRAP, PADSWRAP. Download the Underdog Fantasy app right now and get on playing.
Like, look at this. I know this is going to happen, Jim. Real quick. Klingon higher than 7.5 points. Okay. Anthony Simons higher than 21.5 points. Kalale Ware, whoever this is, higher than 12.5 points. Bam, higher than 19.5 points. Aaron Gordon, higher than 13.5 points. Jokic, higher than 27.5 points. Paul George, higher than 18.5 points. $1,243. Who says no?
I can do something better than that. Ready? Hold on. I can do something.
I just added Nick Smith lower. Now we can win 2,300.
All right. Ready for this? So I'm gonna do NBA. I'm gonna do higher. There we go. Let's do college basketball. That's too much work. I was trying to do like something better than yours.
Like 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But you can win up to 1,000 times your money in a single play. 1,000 times your money.
Yeah.
In a single play. A couple supers rolling in here. JD Gaucho typically goes with college baseball towards the end of the show. UCSB's baseball account said putting the W in Gwynn. After sweeping through the Tony Gwynn legacy, including a win over San Diego State Saturday. Okay. I know UCSB has an outstanding team, I think, top 25 team this year. And then HBBV, did you see this? That there were like fans that thought Ha-Seong Kim was with the Dodgers because they have Ha-Seong Kim.
Dude, Dodger.
They're like, we got him now. Like, no, you don't.
So
different person.
Yeah.
He's
and that's what
happens.
And that's sometimes what happens with like teams that have a lot of success. You get like the ultimate bandwagon fans that don't know shit. And then they just
spring training
and they just start talking and you're like, shut the F up. You don't know what you're talking about.
Idiot, you don't know baseball.
Yeah. So it's like you give and take, right? I mean, you got idiot Dodger fans out there and that I'm sure they became fans like the last 2 years, and it happens with all teams or whatever, but you know, it just like once again tattletales on how Dodger fans are a lot of them that not all of them. There's some good ones, obviously, but there are some out there that are just like, man.
Do you think Ha-Seong Kim will have a good year with the Dodgers?
I think Ha-Seong Kim might have a decent year.
Who is Ha-Seong Kim? Remember, we spent like 2 days on him, and then he signed with the Dodgers. I'm like, screw this guy. Ha-Seong Kim. And JD Gaucho saying the Aztecs had 5 errors against Pepperdine today. Yikes. Okay.
Yikes.
All right, guys. Join us tomorrow. We'll be talking Padres baseball. We'll be talking SDFC. And Kevin Acey is on the show tomorrow on John and Jim. We're 2 to 6 weekdays on San Diego Sports 760. Always available on the free iHeartRadio app and also always available for you on YouTube, live or on replay. We've got our John and Jim channel. So join us tomorrow, 2 to 6. Kevin Acey will be on the show. We'll react to Randy Vasquez making the start for the Padres in Game 4 of the Cactus League. If you missed anything, make sure to subscribe. All right, we have year-round content for Padres fans and baseball fans. Smash the like button for us. Follow us on X at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. We appreciate your support of the channel with the memberships. What am I talking about? How do we wrap this up? What do people do? Thank you for the super thanks.
Don Arcilla is a Padre for life. We haven't mentioned that.
We haven't? Oh, maybe not on the wrap-up show. We mentioned on the radio a lot.
Yeah.
Haven't we? Yeah, we've mentioned. Anyway,
subscribe to the wrap-up show.
Subscribe. We'll be back with you as there's Padres news. We're a month away, essentially, from the regular season. And join us tomorrow on San Diego Sports 760 beginning at 2 p.m. for John and Jim. And for Jim, I'm John. This has been the